Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I have a review for War for Cybertron Siege Micromaster class Red Heat and Stakeout. These two are returning Micromasters from the Generation 1 toy line. They're both Autobots. Red Heat has been renamed, most likely for trademark reasons, from his original name of Red Hot. So in case you thought you were hearing that wrong, that's why. It's been changed from Red Hot to Red Heat. So as per my usual MO, I'm going to take a look at these guys with their packaging, their instructions, the figures themselves, transform them to their different modes, and then at the end get some final thoughts on the toys. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, their package is the standard Micromaster class packaging. Their logos on the front. Got their two city symbols in the background, which are the same. Red Heat and Stakeout here. They are War for Cybertron Siege number 19. Flip around to the back, it's got their team name here. They are the Rescue Patrol. Stakeout transforms in 4 steps. Red Heat is much more complicated, transforming in 9 steps. And then they show off their weapon mode here, which, don't worry, we're going to talk about. Alright, their instructions are standard fare. Got the up-close picture of the two robots here on the front. This side of the instructions shows you how to transform them to their vehicle modes. And then over here we have the instructions to transform them into their combined weapon mode, which is called the Biner Boost Salvage Blaster. It looks pretty weak. There's a really low strength stat for some reason. Alright, Red Heat, or Red Hot, if you want to call him that. His vehicle mode is a fire truck of some unknown origin. It does have a ladder that rotates, lifts up and down, so a bit more articulated than most vehicle modes. The toy is actually a retooling of the Autobot Micromaster Top Shot from the previous wave. And you kind of see that. Instead of having a cannon, he has a ladder this time. Alright, so let's go ahead and transform him to his robot mode. You just want to flip that end half of his ladder inward. Bring this up so it's out of the way. His arms, you're going to pull down a little bit. I would actually rotate this out of the way because you're going to need to pull his legs up, and these little heel pieces kind of get in the way of his ladder. Try not to pop his legs out of the socket. They do have a tendency to want to come out. They don't tend to hold on to the ball joint very well. You can rotate that back down. Then you're just going to flip his heel spurs in, adjust his arms, and there you go. This is Red Heat, or Red Hot. You can turn his head, but just like with Top Shot, it's kind of hard to do. Kind of just want to get your finger in there and you can adjust it little by little. So getting it just right is probably going to be a huge pain. Does at least rotate much more easily than Top Shot's. I don't think I could even get his head to move. But yeah, and there he is. Looks pretty decent. He's got a lot of back kibble, but that's to be expected because he's got the big ladder. Everything's on ball joints for the most part. The arms are nice and tight. The legs are a little bit looser than I'd like them to be, especially this one. Luckily, he's not very heavy, so he doesn't need to support a lot of weight, but here he is. He's also very back heavy, so be aware of that. He's probably very likely to tip backwards on you. All right, Stakeout's vehicle mode is a little Cybertronian police car. And really the only difference between him and a regular police car is that he has Cybertronics written on his doors instead of, some Earth language. Stakeout is probably the more well-known of these two. He had a pretty prominent role in IDW's Sins of the Wreckers comic, and his Japanese counterpart, Holy, which looked just like him, just had a different name, was a major character in Transformers Victory over in Japan. All in all, Stakeout's vehicle mode, I think, holds together a lot better than Red Heat's. Just looks a little more realistic. It's not as gappy. And it's just nice, rolls just fine for a tiny little Micro Machine size toy. See him hanging out there on the underside. Alright, so let's go ahead and transform this guy. He's much simpler than Red Heat. So the first thing you do is just plug this, here's his feet, separate them like so. This car hood piece just folds back, like that. And then you just unplug his arms from his sides. And there you go, Stakeout. And I really like him. I like his proportions. Kind of reminds me of a Minicon, but with much more robotic detail. His head does turn back and forth. Got this nice blue paint on his helmet, his chest there. Arms are on ball joints, so are the hips. Also his knees are. He got a pretty good sized backpack, but not nearly as bad as Red Heat's. And yeah, he's just there, looking cool. Really does take me back to watching Transformers Victory because he looks just like Holy. And honestly, I dig this little guy. He works for me. All right, now it's time to turn these two into their Biner Boost Salvage Blaster. And if you think that name's bad, wait till you see the finished product. Alright, so the instructions have you do this from vehicle mode, but honestly it's less steps to just do it from robot mode, so let's go with that. So for old Red Heat over here, just want to kind of move his kibble stuff out of the way. Plug his feet back together, flip his heel things down straight. Then you're going to do a 180 at his waist like so. And you're going to bend his knees as far as it will go, to where these spurs go into these grooves right there, and then plug into the slots on his chest. It's not a super tight connection, you don't have to push down very hard, but just make sure they kind of go in there, like so. His arms, just kind of leave them straight down, and then you just point his folded up ladder forward like so. That makes the back half. And take old Stakeout here. Just want to attach his arms to his sides again, make them nice and flush. Attach his feet together, like so. Alright, his backpack, it's on 2 hinges, so you want the first connection to go like all the way straight out, this one to bend at a 90, to where it's like this, kind of covering his head a little bit. Flip his peg down, bring in old Red Heat, and then you just plug them in together like so. And it's a very wobbly connection, likes to rotate. His ladder rotates, it's just not very great. And that's it. That is the blaster mode. Nothing special. This is the handle right here, 5mm post. Got a big old gap between them here. There's the weapon barrels, if you can call them that, and they are the right shape to allow little fire blast effects to attach to them. And this weapon is a floppy mess. In fact, probably more so than the other two land-based MicroMaster weapon modes I've reviewed so far. It's just, I don't know why they do this. The only one so far that has looked good has been the Air Assault team. The rest, I mean, I think I would have been fine with them just leaving out weapon modes altogether. I don't think it would have detracted from the play value of these, because you can't call this weapon mode. There's their heads, like they're just two little robots laying down and shooting lasers out of this guy's feet. So, just like with the others, I'm not a fan of this, and I'm going to more or less choose to ignore this mode in my collection. In case you did want to be tortured a little bit further, I'm just gonna show these guys being wielded by another robot. Whip out old Ironhide. Just have him hold on to them. The post is really short and doesn't stay in his fists well at all, so you know, let's deduct more points from this toy. And yeah, it's garbage. I don't like it. All right, and that completes our look at the Rescue Patrol Micromaster team, comprised of, again, Red Heat, or Red Hot, and Stakeout. These two are, they're pretty standard little Micromasters, have about the same amount of articulation as any of the others. Their weapon mode is, again, just god-awful. I think Hasbro should just give up on those entirely. But for their vehicle and robot modes, they're really fun to have. Like I said before, I do really like Stakeout. He's simple, but just really well proportioned and well detailed. I love his black, white, and blue color scheme. It looks really good. Red Heat's pretty nice too. I don't like the balance issues he has because of his backpack. Shares the same issue with his mold mate Top Shot there. But yeah, just like Laserbeak and Ravage, I don't know if I'd say these two are a must-buy unless you just really like Micromasters, or you like Stakeout or Holly, as you know in Japan, or you're just a completionist. You could easily skip them. They don't really add too much to the larger figures or the line as a whole. But that's how I feel about them, at least. Perhaps you disagree with me. Whether or not you do, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you'd like to see more of my Transformers reviews or any of my other Transformers related content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, as well as the notification bell so that you will always get a heads up when I post something new. Thank you for taking a look at these tiny little robots with me, and with all that said, I will see you all next time.